Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Biafra Superstars Media. As the saying goes, when America sneezes, the world they catch the cold. When America leads, the world follows. Likewise, when Trump speaks, Nigeria obeys. At this point, I want you all to start giving praises to the God of Biafra. And I want you to show your appreciation to God's own country, America. Because the President of America, President Donald J. Trump, has done it again. I won't be the one to break this one, hence I'm calling on a comrade, someone we have come to know in this platform, a man who was there during the Biafran War, a man who suffered kwashoko during the Biafran War, a man who saw his mother, sister, siblings go through hell during the Biafran War. He's here to bring this news to the Biafrans that from the 6th, 7th, and 8th of this month, we shall have that good news we're waiting for about our leader Nnamdi Kanu. Hence, without any much further ado, I present to you all the Biafran golden child, the real Biafran golden child, to bless this platform. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're hearing my voice from. This is the Biafra Golden Child, and today is, the 4th day of May 2025. And I'm super glad, very glad, immensely happy, to interact with you today. Hope your Sunday is turning out good. Hope you're praying for yourself and for Biafra. Hope that this month is stimulating and encouraging and motivating as it should. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafran lovers, it's a thrill always to communicate with you. Let me say right now that every time I talk about Biafra, every time I talk of issues concerning Biafra, every time I create awareness of issues happening in Biafra, it gives me a great joy inside my heart, joy inside my life. It brings light into my life. It brings light into the darkness. It shows, it empowers me, it motivates me that there's a light after the darkness, light at the end of the tunnel. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not know what I'm saying, but if you are my age, if you lived at my time, if we were born when I was born, when we suffered, when we were direct victims of the Biafra Civil War, 1967, 1968, 1969, 1970. If you were born when it was difficult, to close your eyes because of bombardments from every corner. If you were born when you could not access food, when lizards, wall geckos, roaches, even some ants, big ants that we called nte. I don't know how many of you remember that. Grasshoppers. These were special delicacies. At a point, they were so sweet, they were the only source of protein. Unfortunately, they were depleted because, of course, people were running every day into the bush. As the bombardments were coming, people were running to the bush. And so these animals were equally either trodden upon or they too ran away for safety. And so it became scarce. If you were born when I was born, when children had massive heads, big tummies, tiny bones, tiny bodies, protruding tummy that they call kwashoko. If you saw people die, I mean a family with 4 children, husband, wife, and 4 children, with his aged mother and father, and they wake up in the morning the next day and the child had died. And of course, they wanted to make sure they move that child away so that whatever killed it, whatever sickness, was it the kwashoko? Was it the loss of food? Was it the sicknesses that had no cure, no medicines? Because of course, the lands had been barricaded. The air is a no-go area. The sea was totally cut off. There was no help from anywhere. No help from anywhere. And so people were left to be deleted. Ladies and gentlemen, if you grew at this time, when every other day is a burial day, every other day is a funeral, this child is buried, this old man is buried, this uncle is buried, somebody committed suicide because, of course, he didn't understand what had happened to him. He was a civil servant in Lagos, and then he had to run. He was a civil servant in Kanu. He had to scamper for safety. He had to run down, and every other day is bombardment. He watched his father killed. He watched the mines, the bombs get his mother. And so he committed suicide because he felt there was no tomorrow for him. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you grew up at this time, when this was how you were, when you were born, you could not suck your mother's breast, you couldn't get breast milk because, of course, your mommy was malnourished. Some of us were born and our mothers were declared DOA, dead on arrival of the baby. Some of us never even saw our mothers. Some of us were trained by our grandmothers. And when you experience these things, ladies and gentlemen, you begin to know why I'm consigned, why I'm continuously and persistently interested in issues concerning Biafra. When I talk about Biafra, I'm not trying to eulogize Biafra. I'm not in any way trying to praise any personality, because I've said it here in one of my audios that Biafra is not about personalities. Biafra is not about any other person. Biafra is a way of life. Biafra is an ambition of the people. Biafra is a mission, Zion-oriented mission. Biafra is a religion. Biafra is a society. Biafra is a redeclared United Sovereign State of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, don't feel offended when I come every other day, when I make audios every other day. We're not doing it for any gain, but we're doing it because we are survivors. We saw the darkness. We saw the death. We were living at times of sorrow and pain. We were living at times of poverty and lack. We were living at times of bombardment every other day. If you survived every other day, it was a miracle. So, ladies and gentlemen, this man, you hear his voice every other time. Maybe you think he's a man who is interested in anything. I am not interested in anything. I'm I'm comfortable. I've built my career. I mean, I don't want to disclose exactly what I do, but I'm a super successful, career-oriented professional. But it hurts me. Why I decided to undertake this job, why I decided to undertake, this passion, it's because I want people to know what has happened. Why is Biafra? Why is Biafra? Why is Biafra current, even in 2025? Why must we still talk about Biafra? Because a whole lot of people don't know Biafra. Our Igbo brothers who are rich today, opulent today, who splash money on the pages of newspapers, who go through all social media splashing billions. They don't know what Biafra is. Possibly they were not born then. Possibly they haven't read the history books. Because, of course, history has been removed from our schools. Possibly no uncle has told them. Possibly no auntie has told them. Possibly they have just developed dementia. They can't remember. But, ladies and gentlemen, it will be a curse on me if I don't continue to talk Biafra, if I don't continue to talk about the plight of the Igbo man, if I don't continue to be vociferous, to proclaim, to enunciate, and to propagate the philosophy of Biafra. So this morning, the 4th day of May 2025, I'm sorry if you don't like my voice. I try as much as possible to sound the way it is. Sorry, my voice might sound somehow. Yes, we're widely traveled. We've studied here and there. Yes, we've broken even, like I said. We survived. We are survivors. Yes, we've gone around the world. Yes, but still we're here. We're here to bring the message of Biafra, the message of emancipation to our people. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get bored hearing my voice. Don't get tired hearing me talk. But the truth must be told. We must call a spade a spade. The Igbo man, the Biafra man has suffered in the hands of this zoo called Nigeria. There was a deliberate program to eliminate us. There was a program, a program, a program of genocide, a proclamation of genocide on Biafrans between 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. And so when I talk about Biafra, do not be tired. Do not say he has come again. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will go to the audio of this morning. This morning's audio is very, very important. When you listen to it, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your associates, because gradually, 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 sense is coming. Sense is coming. Gradually, gradually, for whatever it is worth, for whatever it is worth, sense is coming to play. Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to tell you that today's audio is very, very significant. Yes, very, very important. You listen to it, you tell your wife, you, you let your children listen to it too, let your friends listen to it. Ladies and gentlemen, is a big one, it's a blast. Take it from me, it's a blast. When the last audio came out, when we saw marksmen, when we talked about the gangster paradise, when we talked about people who were coming as witnesses for the defense council, I mean, people who the federal government applied to the judge states, Justice James Omotosho. They said, we want our witnesses masked. This men, if their face is shown, if they are known, if their voice is heard, their lives may be threatened. Some of them have worked in DSS. They have to go by AKA. Please, justice, permit marksmen in the court today. Ladies and gentlemen, the trial of our maximum leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has broken a historical, has broken the history, has made a history in the courts in this country, the Federal High Court. For the first time, gangsters, masked men, we have been introduced, we have been permitted to be accepted. Yes, masked men were allowed to be witnesses. Masked men were legally accepted to have their evidences documented, and then for them to be allowed. Gangster paradise existed in the court, in the court of justice, a court of law, because of Nnamdi Kanu's trial. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't get that, we did say here last few days, because of the experience of the 2nd of May, we did say here that yes, a lot is going to happen again. Because on the 29th of April, we saw the marksmen come out alive, come out live and direct. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 2nd of May, of course, some great things happened. Yes, maybe you didn't remember, we told you that the 47th president of America was interested in the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, because the whole world was suddenly, the whole world was flabbergasted, highly, highly flabbergasted. The whole world watched with bated breath how masked men, gangsters, hooded people, we are accepted as witnesses in a case of terrorism, a case of felony charge against none other than a peace-loving, deeply religious man of peace, a man who said, my people have suffered enough. My people have suffered enough. It's time to grant them their wish. If you don't want them in the country called Nigeria, then grant them perpetual opportunity, amnesty to move into their own, give them the leeway to move into their own country. Let them go to Biafra. If you cannot guarantee their life, the safety of their life and property, if you cannot guarantee them growth and development, if you cannot guarantee them doing their business legitimately, freely, without encumbrances, without triple taxations, without quadruple taxations, if you cannot Stop making life unbearable for them. If you cannot continue to treat them like second fiddle, if you are not remorseful for the number of, Biafrans who died between 1966, 67, 68, 69, 70, let my people go. That was what Nnamdi Kanu said. That was his sin. That was his crime, because he dared to say, let my people go. Enough is enough. If you don't want them, if you don't need 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 them, let them go. That is the crime. And today they're charging him for felony. They're charging him for terrorism. Meanwhile, we saw other areas, other regions in this country. We saw the Sunday Igboho of the Southwest, who came out vigorously pursuing an Oduduwa Republic, saying it right even in the media, right in the full glare of the public, all across the mass media, saying, look, the Yoruba Republic is time. If we can't access the presidency anymore, if we cannot rule this country anymore, if you don't want us to be, then grant us Oduduwa Republic. He came all out. And the federal government, of course, the zoo arrested him. But what did they do? They treated him with kid gloves. They tried him. The trial didn't take too long. And they granted him. They said, no, this man has done no wrong. Of course, the justice is there. The judges then washed their hands like Pilate and said, walk away. You're free. We pardon you. You have not in any way infringed on the on the rights and privilege of anyone. You are not guilty of terrorism. You are not guilty as charged. You are a free man. They granted him total amnesty. And he's a free man today. Sunday Igboho is a free man. In fact, I heard recently he's trying to contest for a governorship position. Probably come the more talked about 2027. Ditto to the north. We have the Boko Harams. We have the Fulani jihadists. We have the headsmen who are heading their cattle, carrying AK-47 and sophisticated weapons. We have headsmen whose mission is to completely destabilize, delineate, if not completely Islamize the South. We know of the heinous activities in Plateau State, in Benue State, in Enugu State, in Ebonyi State, in Imo State, in Anambra State, in Osun State. They are killing daily in Ondo State. They have depopulated Benue State. And yet, when these people are arrested, when the Boko Haram, the Fulani jihadists, the Meta Allah are arrested, what happens next? Ladies and gentlemen, they are tried, pardoned, and granted amnesty. And it didn't end there. It doesn't end there. The next thing you hear, they're given an option. Since you know how to pull the trigger, since you know how to use AK-47, since you know how to bomb, come on, bro. Come on, join the armed forces. Come on, join the armed forces of, this country and help us eliminate other militants, other insurgents. Help us catch the kidnappers. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys come into the army. They are recruited, they are paid, they are trained to join the army. And every time the army wants to get to Sambisa Forest, every time the army is chasing the militants, chasing the insidious people, the insurgents, every time the country is chasing, the soldiers are chasing these Boko Haram people. These same people who have been pardoned, these same ones who have been granted amnesty, quickly gives the routine. They give a retinue. They give the every plan that should have been coded, that should have been secret. They pass it on to their brothers because, of course, we know blood is thicker than water. They pass it on to their fellow Boko Haram. Their trainees, their trainers, their leaders in Boko Haram camp, and of course, every effort of Nigerian armed forces is completely, totally derailed, and the soldiers are killed like cattle, killed like mere dogs, killed like birds. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria has been losing its armed forces, highly trained personnel, either in the air forces, in bombardments, and land fight because of these insurgents who are granted amnesty. You caught Boko Haram people, you grant them amnesty, you put them in Nigerian armed forces, and they become your Waterloo. They become your Waterloo. Ladies and gentlemen, this audio of this morning is simple and clear. Donald Trump, the 47th President of America, the European Union Parliament, the European Union leaders, German leaders, leaders from advanced countries watched with bated breath the way marksmen came into the federal high courts and they were accepted as witnesses and they gave evidence. They brought in their evidences, were recorded, and they had 4 suitcases that were kept as exhibits. Of course, the whole world watched with anger and frustration. They didn't believe that Nigeria has descended from the zoo, has descended from the that shithole. They didn't believe that Nigeria could become a gangster's paradise, not even within the judiciary. And so the 47th President of America sent a direct message to Emilio Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, I had it. I may not want to disclose my sources. The marksmen, we know who they are at the appropriate time. Their identities will be fully disclosed. But I want to let you know that the 47th President of the United States, the man who has been regarded as a China as a bull in a China shop, came out vigorously and told Emilio Khan, I think it's about time you did the right thing. Enough is enough of this charade. Enough of this facade. Enough of this orchestration of the lowest level of human oppression. Enough of this clueless governance. Enough is enough. Nnamdi Kanu has done no wrong. Nnamdi Kanu was illegally, was against internationally recognized standards, human practices, rendition from Kenya. I think it's about time you do the right thing, or else we'll wade in the big stick, or else we'll be wading the big stick. Sanctions will begin to pour like water on Nigeria. And by the time we're done with you, including releasing your CIA files, excluding releasing your CIA files, even going back to the so-called University of Chicago and Chicago State University. By the time we are done with you, bro, Donald Trump told Emilio Khan, by the time we're done with you, bro, you'll be looking for a hole to hide. I think we've seen enough of this rubbish. Stop it right away. Stop it right away, or else, bro, you have yourself to blame. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you here right now that the message sank. And the first thing Emilio Khan did was give a shout out to Justice James Omotosho. Ladies and gentlemen, Justice James Omotosho became very jittery. His principal has told him, Emilio Khan has called him, be through with this man. I don't want to be through with Kanu. Be done with him. I'm tired of this name, Nnamdi Kanu. I'm tired of everything about him. Brother, take it like hot charcoal in your hands. Take it like hot charcoal. Yeah, like I said, Emilio Khan put a call to Justice James Omotosho and told him, hello, the die is cast. Be true with someone. Be true with Nnamdi Kanu right away. Let this thing not exceed. Let it not exceed this week. Please let this trial end. I don't want anything that would jeopardize 2027 and my ambition for 2027. I don't want anything that will make you know who he is. This bull in a China shop descend on me. I have to be very careful. This is a dangerous moment for us. Please, be rid of that man. Be rid of him any way you can. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to tell you that yes, during the commencement again, when the trial met, Yes, on 2nd May, Friday, 2nd May 2025, Justice James Omotosho, Justice James Omotosho said, look, Chief Kanu Agabe, 2 times attorney of this nation, I don't want matters of Kanu to drag more than necessary. I want to do it fast. And so I'm not going to postpone, adjourn this trial more than necessary. I want these dates to be concurrent. I want the next trial, this court to be adjourned till the 6th. We'll continue on the 7th, and then finally, we should be done with it on the 8th of May. These 3 days, 6, 7, 8. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I can hear you say 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8 of May have become a date that Nigeria and Nigerians will never forget in their life. Yes, they have touched the tiger by the tail. They thought they could intimidate the Biafra. They thought that indeed, well, we are finished. They thought Nnamdi Kanu would be intimidated by masked betrayers who call themselves masked men, DSS people. We know who they are. We know who they are. Yes, we may not want to say them now, but we know who they are. Ladies and gentlemen, suddenly, Nigeria is jittery. It's jittery. They're afraid. Because, of course, James Hadley Chase told us in one of his epic novels that the guilty are afraid. The guilty are afraid. Ladies and gentlemen, Nnamdi Kanu is not afraid. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Chief Kanu Agabe during his, cross-examination of the witnesses, the masked, hooded witnesses, the gangster witnesses, asked them, you said you saw personal belongings of a man who was traveling from one place to another. You caught him at Golden Tulip Hotel in Lagos. All those things you said you saw, Mr. Marksman. Was there anything, like AK-47 rifle? No. Was there anything like bombing apparatus or bomb manufacturing apparatus? No. Was there anything extraordinary that you think could make him mass, kill people or destroy people or in any way terrorize anybody? And these masked witnesses said, no. In your view, do you think Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, is a killer? And the masked man, the gangster said, no, but we've heard that he has other associates. People like Simon Ekwanjoku. We heard he has other associates, who are his hitmen. Son Chief Kanu Agabe asked, can you in any way prove any of this? He said, no, but we read in social media that Simon Ekpa will soon be extradited to Nigeria. Yes, we heard in social media that Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the IPOB and Biafra separatist group. Ladies and gentlemen, you can imagine. They began to stutter. Men began to stutter. Men began, they developed all of a sudden, people who were great speakers, orators became stutterers. They stuttered. It became stammerers. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you further. The truth about the matter is that, yes, finally, yes, Donald Trump, international observers, presidents of, international recognized bodies have told Emilio Khan, put your acts together, don't push us to the wall. You have acted in a manner that is bereft of truth, bereft of law, the rule of law. You have shown that you are not a respecter of law and rule of law. Please, we want justice, equity, and fairness to prevail. We don't want this kind of situations, to continue. You must do the right thing. You must do the right thing. Yes, you must do the right thing. So Emilokon immediately sent emissaries to Justice James Omotosho and gave him the marching word, read him the Riot Act. Get this case done with right now. Of course, James had to tell him, sir, let's make it look like at least there was a trial. I can't just take a decision now on the 2nd of May. He said, then do what you have to do and do it fast. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you breaking news. On the 6th, on the 7th, and the 8th of May will be a decisive time for Biafra. Will be a decisive moment, especially on the 8th, for the redeclared sovereign United States of Biafra, because Nnamdi Kanu's trial must end on the 8th. And I guarantee you, you'll be hearing a favorable news. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I assure you, we shall clink our glasses. Champagnes will be poured, and we shall say, Eureka, Eureka! Finally, Onyendu, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is here with us, free, fair, and totally and completely exonerated of any abysmally fake, orchestrated, and forged charges. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, yes, finally, mark the days, 6th, 7th, 8th of May, will be a decisive factor in Igbo land, in Biafra land, because we will have cause to celebrate. I assure you that. Let's keep it under armpit. Keep it under the carpet. Keep it under your caps. But get ready. Get your champions ready. Because, of course, the powers that be have called Emilokon and told him, are you not tired of this clueless government? Are you not tired of the hardship you have fostered on your people? Are you not tired that people are dying daily, groaning of poverty and lack? Are you not tired that people are dying? They can't buy medicines. Are you not tired of the unemployment ratio in your country? Are you not tired of the underemployment in your country? Are you not tired by the fact that the only people who are surviving, who are succeeding in your country, are the politicians? Are the politicians who jump from one party this morning to another party tomorrow? The politicians who collect billions of naira, telling their people they are building airports, 10 billion naira, $10 billion. You build an airport, and that airport is only in the imagination of the governor. Your people, the politicians who collect security votes, massive security votes, but they cannot do anything to empower their people. Security, governments, governors, whose people are being killed daily by Fulani jihadists, and you are not doing anything. And the only man who defended his family, who was daggered, who was caught macheted, and he dared to defend his people. He defended his family, wives who have been raped, children who have been raped, farm that has been burnt. He dared to defend himself against the Fulani man. And what did you do? Your court sentenced him to death by hanging because he defended his life. On self-defense, he dared to kill a Fulani man. No, he said enough is enough. You have not completed 4 years of your first tenure. You have not achieved anything, and you're talking of 2027. Anyway, we're here. You better watch it. If you don't do the right thing, we know what to do. We introduce sanctions upon sanctions against Nigeria, and then we'll tell the SF, CIA to get cracking, release all the informations, release all the data on Tinubu, on Emilokon. Let us go back to University of Chicago and Chicago State University. Let us go back. Why suddenly a passport that is supposed to be a woman is suddenly a male, has a male possessing it? Don't let us go down Don't let us go down, and get cracking with you. And of course, the message has been sent. Emiloko instantly has charged Justice James Omotosho to be read through instantly with Kanu Wanko, with our Onyendo, Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he has said it. But of course, being a justice, being a man of law, Justice James Omotosho said, Your Excellency, give me just 6th, just 7th, just the 8th of May, and I promise you, I'll do as you please, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, watch my mouth, mark my words, get ready, and you'll see what will happen. Victory is certain. Victory is certain by the special grace of God. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Get your champagnes ready, get your club, wash your cup, and on the 8th of May 2025, we shall be clinking our glasses and shouting, hooray, hooray, eureka, eureka. Yes, we're waiting for them. That's where we are. God bless you all. God bless freedom lovers of Biafra. God bless you. Bless all of you who are interested in knowing more about Biafra. Of course, we'll talk more. We'll get cracking when the need arises. I wish you all the best and happy Sunday. God bless you all. Thank you.
Biafra must be restored, for there is nothing the enemies can do about it. You brought Biafra that light may come into Africa. You gave us hope because we are in a continent of hopelessness. And by thy grace, Biafra shall be restored. We shall be resurrected. We shall crown our efforts with the glory by the grace of the Most High Himself. We are not strong. We do not pretend to be strong. All we do is to submit ourselves to your will, that your will may be done upon our lives. We have lost many people. We have lost so many good people. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. We shall honor them, and for their sake, Biafra will come. Because we are wandering all over the world, hoping against every hope that things will turn around for the better. It has never turned around for the better. Instead, it is getting worse. Please do not abandon your children. You have given us a commission, and we must accomplish it in our lifetime. Our enemies are equally important because they must listen. Those who do not love the truth must listen. Those who are beholden to darkness, they must also listen. For we are here to bring light upon a very darkened continent without Biafra. Africa is nothing without Biafra. There is no difference between a black man and a wild animal in the forest. We say every shred with every ounce of conviction. I welcome each and every one of you. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Radio Biafra. This is how we do it. We magnify the name of the Most High before we do anything. That is why we are exceptionally formidable. That is why